All right. Malibu Film Festival's films, charity events, and special programs continue to evolve in support of the arts in your community, and you can help by becoming a sponsor of the Malibu Film Festival. Donate at MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate, or just check them out at MalibuFilmFestival.com. Like that? You see how that works, guys? Just MalibuFilmFestival.com. Isn't that pretty cool?
You can't ask a question and then close everybody's mic.
It was kind of
That's
rhetorical.
cheating.
It was a rhetorical thing.
Don't do that.
I wasn't expecting a statement, a reply.
This is like working in the gig
You
economy.
had food
This
in your face.
right here.
How could you answer with food in your face?
I've never had a problem with that.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Anyway, we are live if you're watching Friday, June 29. This is Around Midnight with the Local Boys. I am Joe Carbonetta. I've got Chevelle Devine right here. I've got Todd Fluker. And if you came to the event last Saturday in Pasadena, what was the name of that event, CJ?
I'm not good with names, bro.
It was the
fight
charity
cancer thing.
Yeah. That was down at Robbins in Pasadena. If you happen to stop by there, you might have seen us because, hey, we were there with Mixified Media Solutions. And that was a pretty good event. It was a lot of fun. And
I'm tempted to say it was a fun time, but cancer.
Well, but still,
cancer?
it benefited a good cause, which was the fight against cancer.
Yes.
So, always a good thing. And I'm sure we'll be doing more of that in the future. Anyway, if you want to get in on our conversation tonight, you've got multiple avenues. You can call us at 951-356-6882. You can email us at mixified@gmail.com. Tweet us at Joe Carbonetta, at Todd Fluker, at Chevelle Devine, or join the live chat on Facebook right now. So, speaking of Facebook and social media in general, we were having a conversation earlier about how social media is pretty much ruining people's lives.
To be fair, the people whose lives are being ruined are pretty stupid people.
Wow, that's
They were
a
kind
pretty,
of asking for it,
They
is what
kinda
you're saying?
were.
that's a pretty
They kinda
controversial statement right there.
I mean,
It is interesting
like for instance, if my career should end because of the statement I just made, I kind of had it coming.
Okay. Well, there have been numerous studies suggesting that smartphones are actually destroying IQ levels. Basically, they're making us dumber by causing us to become more dependent on the technology. We no longer remember telephone numbers. We don't remember passwords. We don't remember email addresses. All that stuff's in the phone. What are you doing over there, CJ?
He's so hungry.
Somebody dropped something.
Hungry for licorice.
And then there's the fact that things like Facebook have actually begun to dominate people. There was a study that just came out not very long ago, and I know if you go look it up on Google, and it's funny that I would say that, considering we're discussing social media and its negative ramifications.
Generic search engine,
Yeah,
you mean?
if you look it up on a generic search engine, I'm sure you can find the results of the study that were discussing the fact that the idea that your mobile phone is even in a room with you when it is linked to some social media like Facebook or something like that is a distraction, a continuous and permanent distraction to you. Even if you don't have the phone in your hand, you are subconsciously thinking about it. And when it dings off in the distance, it's kind of like that whole situation. I'm going to go way back to psychology. There was something on Pavlov and the dogs, right? He would ring the bell, the dogs would start salivating because they would think they were going to get fed. And so when your phone beeps, you suddenly feel compelled to get up and look at it.
Not so much.
Yeah, well, see, I don't either. And in fact, I took the extraordinary step of actually silencing. One of the beautiful things about Android that you can actually shut off all of those notifications if you don't want them. And I did. I turned them all off. So now I might look at the phone once in a while. And I've gotten some concerned. I shouldn't call them angry, but I've gotten some mail from concerned people noting that I have not responded to anything that they've said on Facebook or Messenger or whatever. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, really?
I didn't know
my.
because I just turned all that stuff off because I don't feel like being a slave to it anymore.
Like, sorry, I didn't talk about how great that grilled cheese looked.
Anyway, Todd,
Speaking of responding to someone, Adrian's on the Facebook Live chat saying, "You need a hug, Chevelle?"
Absolutely. You offering, Todd?
Adrian is
I thought
offering.
Adrian was offering.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'll come get that hug later.
That sounds gross.
Anyway, so Todd, what the information did you want to bring to light on this particular subject?
I
Yeah,
was
after
just-
the monologue.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, and there are, there are good ways and bad ways to kind of assert your dominance, and or people, if you think you're being taken advantage of, sometimes people will step up, sometimes people won't. For example, I went to the aquarium on Father's Day with my family, and there was a little line for this one part where he touched some starfish and whatnot. So my wife took the baby to the bathroom. I got in line, and then I got to the front of the line. They weren't back yet, so I just kind of hung back. And then when my family got back, they jumped the line, got in with me, and there was like this 10-year-old kid right there, and he was all like, "Hey, you guys can't do that," and I was like, good on you, boy. Hey, they're with me, though. I was waiting in line, but hey, good on you for standing up for what you believe in. I was like, a 10-year-old kid standing up to some adults, saying, hey, I don't think this is right. That's, you got to give it to him for having the balls to do it.
They haven't dropped yet, but
Wait, what did this happen?
I've got balls of steel.
But then you have other situations that are far less than ideal. Say this lady, I don't even know her name. We got to look it up. This lady who was calling the cops on some children who were, I don't know, selling water on the street. And this lady was calling the cops on them because she didn't think it was right that they were selling stuff in the street without a permit or something like that.
nothing for you.
So, to a certain extent, yeah, it might not be right, but is that really your place to jump in there?
You know one other thing that irritates me the most about this, and part of me, you can't be too mad at people because people are scared of people, but these are children. You could just go up and say, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't do that, or hey, go around the corner and do that. But they're selling water. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
That's
just
what I'm talking about, the gig economy, man.
It's a hot day, and these kids are being enterprising instead of, selling lemonade.
I
They
was
just
going
got
to say,
some bottles of
let's
water.
back up this truck for a second. What if they were selling lemonade instead? Would she have had a problem with it then?
Probably.
Well, her complaint was they didn't have a permit.
Yeah, right. I understand.
That is ridiculous. And this is one of my
If you read the subtext, her problem was that they were black.
Well, I mean,
yeah, because here's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you are below the age of 18, can you even legally get a permit?
no, you cannot.
So
In fact, if you're below the age of 15, you can't even legally get a job.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that any child has ever been hauled into court for not having a permit for selling lemonade, ice
I
cream,
wouldn't
or
put
anything
it past
else.
them. And this. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there's-
well, in the Trump economy, maybe
it's not even that. Actually, it's actually more likely to happen in a more democratic economy because they permit the hell out of stuff. Like, I've never understood why you need to have a permit to have a protest. I'll be dadgum if I'm going to go pay the government I'm complaining about a couple $100 to march around and tell the government I don't like how you're running business. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You don't have to throw your glasses.
I'm just saying. But yeah, it's getting crazy. And then this is the same one. She had a business, right? This lady?
Yeah, and
Don't tell me her business was selling water.
No.
that would make more sense.
That would
But
make more sense.
Looking at this article from the New York Post, this is the backlash of people against this woman. She resigns as the CEO of her own pot company. So she was running her own company, and people got her name and face, and nobody wants to
her
deal with
products
her
were getting
anymore.
pulled off of shelves. She sold
Excellent.
she sold biscuits, weed biscuits for dogs or something
Yeah,
like that.
doggy weed biscuits or something like that. And look at her.
Now
This
she's
video
ducking-
shows her calling the cops, and I assume it must be the kid's mother is there, and she's saying like, "You can't sell things without a permit."
So she.
And then this is the crazy thing.
She's
'cause
selling weed, and she's going after
For
kids
dogs.
for selling water. Weed
For
for
dogs.
dogs. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the dogs part. Weed for dogs.
Yeah, that's essentially what
people
happened.
care more about their
Canine
dogs than they do
ganja.
anything else.
And
yeah.
man, I'm far from one to be like, "Oh yeah, she deserves it," but
Come on, dude.
she had no place sticking her nose in there. But does she really deserve to have her life ruined, her livelihood stripped from her for making this, quote, mistake?
What, are you just upset now because you can't get any 420 for your pooch?
My dogs are hooked.
For the pooch, yeah, that's it.
Pooch for the pooch? What?
You know,
But
actually,
I mean,
if
this
you-
is what's happening all over the place. You
Yeah.
hear about these people getting backlash.
And they get these cool names like Permit Patty. Who's this one?
Yeah.
permit Patty, and then the lady who called on the barbecue. The people were having a barbecue, and they had a open fire grill versus propane, and that's apparently not. They call her Barbecue Becky.
Open fire versus I'm sorry, wait a minute. So somebody had a
They
barbecue
were having a
with
barbecue
charcoal
in a public park
with charcoal, and
charcoal,
somebody complained
and
about that.
She called the cops.
There was an ordinance saying they could only use gas.
Who cares what the ordinance says? They're having a freaking barbecue.
Well, no, I'm actually
there are some instances where this could be
flabbergasted
an
that
issue.
there would be a situation where you can't use charcoal in a barbecue.
And it turns out here's the crazy thing, because typically, like, the people that are doing this type of thing are usually the people who are all about rights and people having freedoms and all this other stuff. This lady makes weed biscuits for dogs. Okay, that's a pretty liberal.
She's a pretty
agenda.
progressive person.
The lady who
overall.
called on the barbecue people was like a professor. I think this was like in Redwood City. I think she was at Stanford or something like that.
So again, it
These
sounds
are
to
like
me like
super
these people
liberal
were just
people.
having a bad day and looking to
No,
take it out on
these-
somebody else.
This and now I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is part of the hypocrisy and the meddlesomeness that comes with the far leftist side of progressivism. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't on one hand say everybody should be able to just live their lives and do what they want, and then on the other side shut down somebody when they exercise the rights that you fought for them to have. That's my problem with it. And that's hypocrisy, and I can't stand that crap. But the other side of
Okay.
this is, in both of these instances, this white lady's calling on black folk, bro.
Now, this really pisses me off to no end.
Yeah, that's what you really have to
You have to
think
wonder.
at a certain point. You're like,
And I hate to think
I have
that way.
to think this is racially motivated.
I hate to think that way, because I still remember to this day one of my first experiences where you get these little weird side comments and stuff from people, and you're not sure, like, is this racial?
Well,
And you don't want to go through life like that, like wondering, what did this person mean? Like,
it's interesting that you mentioned that, kind of unrelated, but still sort of related. There was a story in the news just a couple of days back, going back, kind of tying this into the last subject, which was the gig economy, which basically stated that there have been a couple of informal studies that seem to suggest that people of color end up waiting longer for an Uber ride.
oh yeah, that's historical, for sure. In fact, the first time I ever wanted to use Uber, I had just come back from Philadelphia at a convention, and I just downloaded the app, put it on my phone, and I literally sat there staring at my phone, watching like a dozen Uber cars driving around Union
Well,
Station.
wait, you were trying to get somebody to drive you back from Philadelphia to here.
No.
It's no wonder that it's
No.
no wonder that
From
we're gonna
Union
take that
Station
job.
downtown later home, and I get
Oh.
it. Union Station is a sketchy place. You're right there next to the prison or the jail. It's not a prison. Large homeless population and whatnot, but there's also a lot of people that are just traveling. And it was late. I got there late. Just got back from LAX. I was riding that bus, and the last train back to home, it just gone. I missed it.
Okay.
But I waited on an Uber for like 35, 40 minutes. I downloaded the Lyft app within 10 minutes. Not necessarily trying to plug one versus the other, but in 10 minutes, I had a ride.
So wait, you're suggesting that Lyft could theoretically be less racist than
You
Uber?
know, I'm not going to come right out and say that because I don't know. But Uber has, it's named Uber. You know? I just needed a lift, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I can't
Well, you know,
can't
and
say that because I know
Uber-
people who drive for Uber, and I know people who actually would drive for both.
Uber does kind
But
of sound like
Uber-
it's a German
Well,
sort of,
they-
they had
they're
that
a-
whole Aryan.
They're a bit more restrictive about like who actually can even drive for Uber, and both of them are fairly.
Well, now
restrictive,
here's the
but
question, because I know with
it's
Uber,
crazy.
you have to have a very late model vehicle to
Yes,
be a
you
driver.
do.
Does Lyft require that, or can
It's
you,
not
can you have
as
a bucket?
late of a model because the guy that picked me up was like this little. Yeah, it was a well kept little Tercel.
Oh.
But it wasn't because I know a guy who drives for Uber and he drives around in his Mercedes.
I
so.
mean, what if you had like a fully restored '56 Chevy
Nope,
Bel Air?
not
You
gonna
can't
go.
drive for
Can't do
Uber,
it.
right?
Yeah,
It's
nope.
like, this thing could be like car show quality, classic, whatever.
do it.
Huh? That is kind of.
But Uber's got
how
like
sweet
all
would
these
that
different
be
levels.
if somebody pulled up with a '56 Bel Air to take you to the airport? I mean, that'd be
down.
pretty damn awesome, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the difference between like Uber and Uber X and stuff like
It's the
that?
size
it's
of
like
the
supposed to
vehicle
be a
and the
nicer
cost.
vehicle,
Yeah,
right?
Uber X is like limos.
I wonder
and
if you could
large.
get like some kind of
like-
special pass if you had like a really cool car like that. Because I think people would pay extra for a cool ride like that.
I mean, if you're doing that, you should just bypass Uber and just advertise yourself.
Yeah, just have
outright.
your own app.
Yeah.
But Adrian's jumping on the Facebook Live chat. Man, she's lighting it up. She said, talking about that lady with her pooch hooch. She said she should have chilled out with some of her own product.
There you go. Just,
and, and she's getting some comeuppance.
Light up with a pug or something,
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. And people who know me know I crack a lot of jokes about race. I talk a lot about race relations, and some of it comes from pain, some of it comes from reality. But I really do hate some of the, because I see it. I get some of the side glances. I get people who will look twice. I get people who will clutch a little extra tighter. And I don't like thinking in my mind, is this because I'm black? And I'm a black male on top of that. And I've seen this in action. I've seen people, like, I'll be in a store and I'll watch people come into the store and I'll see, like, the smile when one person comes in and then the side glance when another person comes in. And it's not always necessarily a black person, but people make these judgment calls, and it's kind of messed up, man.
I feel
and
that.
I'm probably guilty of the same thing. I'm not going to excuse myself.
I feel that, brother. I feel that. I always
Todd
get that.
halfway understands me.
I always think sometimes when I see a girl with a low-cut top and I try not to look too much, and then I see her, like, tugging at her shirt, I'm like, is that because she saw me looking? Or just in general, she was just adjusting herself?
Now I've got that image in my head.
But, you know, I get that.
Yeah. Okay, so on that note, it's actually time for us to take another break anyway. So I think we should probably we'll give you a chance to regroup and get that memory or that image washed out of your mind. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. 951-356-6882. Wow, I almost flashed back and gave the number from like 10 years ago. But, yeah, 951-356-6882 if you want to give us a call. Otherwise, continue to converse with us on the live chat. Again, if you've got some story you want to share with CJ, you can always send him something at Chevelle Divine.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And we'll be back right after this on Around Midnight with the Local Boys. Around Midnight is a production of Mixified Media Solutions. Mixified is a full-service multimedia production company. From boardroom to broadcast, whatever your production needs, Mixified is your solution. Go to Mixified.com, that's MIXAFIED, or call 951-356-6882. Mixified Media Solutions.